So to start off, what I thought we'd do is just paint a picture. And I'm sorry the slide is so bad there, but you guys can read it while I'm talking. So I want to go back a bit down to memory lane here, back to the 1990s. I've been in the IT industry for the last 27 years. A little kid running around is supporting users. And I remember the one distinct event that took place, a virus that hit our network. And this virus, we had 200 users at the time. And so the first problem was at that time there was no internet. So there's no ways you had the pattern file. So you had to phone somebody, and somebody from overseas had to courier that disk down to you. And you would be lucky if it didn't get damaged. Thereafter, the process starts where you ought to go to every single machine. Every single machine, plonk this thing in, and scan the machine. And I tell you, that event, I had at that time 200 people on the local area network. And guess what? The last machine was the one that had the virus. So that was the one day. And then we used to travel a lot. So, I mean, the economy was growing at the time. And like to get more business, you had to be out on the road. And if you all remember the little map book, you had a map book on your lap while you drove. And you would watch the robot try to scan when you're turning left or right. You know, that's the age that I grew up in. You know, when we had a server issue or a disk failure, there was no freaking alert that came on your desktop or your PC or something warned you. All you knew was the light was red on the server box. So there are examples where we started. And us as humans, we want to improve ourselves all the time. It's about continuous improvement. And that's how I think, and basically our DNA is in such a way that we want to drive a far more efficient process, we want to drive business value, and that's how we gave birth to this whole automation strategy. So back then, everything was manual, and those of you which were back then, you know, when you first got monitoring, and you got monitoring on your machines, and the server would call home, and you'll find this guy coming with this big briefcase with a disk to replace it, and you don't know. That was like godsend, you know, like wow. There was no such thing as RAID and stuff, you know. It was just simple stuff, and you just worked your way through the actual process. So in terms of the diagram, you can see there, at the moment you find as you drive the driver automation, we're removing that, like the human effort. But in terms of, it's like removing it. Like it's not about removing the effort completely where humans are not required, but rather it gave many people the space to become more creative. Now, if we continue down that paradigm shift, we never would have the capability to spend the time to automate more stuff, you know? So that's it. Let's go to the next slide again. So while you're going through it, so I just want to talk about some of the stuff where you talk about automation. And I know UIPath is here, but when I see automation, I see it in a different light, as it is not just one tool. It's about all the things you are doing in your business to drive value. And the value you're driving is to drive customer value. And it's about removing the waste. It's about making sure that your greatest asset, which is your humans, are spending their time on the right stuff, is being creative and creating more models that will drive more customer value. If you drive more customer value, you get greater retention, you get greater sales. So when you look at automation and you look at it like in terms of your business, and when you pitch it like in your organization, like for me, it's not about the efficiency. It's not about the cost saving. It's about the value creation for the organization. How is that customer going to get a better experience? Because bottom line, every single employee, no matter what you do in an organization, is delivering towards customer value. We as the heads and the leads of your divisions need to make sure that all your staff and all your processes are geared in such a way it reduces the waste, that it's driving customer value. So with automation, it's some of the examples. Back, like I said, we had monitoring, then it came to, it's like alerting, and as the evolution moved on, it became to like self-cleansing, self-healing, etc., right? Then you moved on to IoT, where it's now becoming part of your home. So in your home now, some of you may have those fancy fridges. When your eggs run out, there's somebody coming home with the eggs. It's driving that efficiency. But when I spoke earlier about our human DNA, you must remember at the moment, there is a new generation coming in, which is the millennials and the younger generation. They want instant gratification. And instant gratification is about driving the efficiency that it will deliver an immediate return. And that's where this automation comes in. So automation is saying, how quickly can we deliver the best possible experience? So as a business unit, you need to think about your business to say, are we really doing justice to all the tools out there? There is a barrage of tools. Some of them, I'll give you an example, is machine learning. There's all these buzzwords around it. But the question is, how do you use it like as part of your business? We are a content business. Most of our data is around content. We've got a massive editorial force. All of them are legal people. They're busy preparing content. What we're doing now is that we've moved all their jobs up, where previously they were editing our content. We have systems that are extracting all the attributes and the most important data. They're spending more time in the classification and enriching of those documents that is driving the value for the customer. So there we used basic NLP. We ran it through some models, and an example that Craig did for us was we took the Botswana law reports. It was how many cases?
5,000.
It was 5,000 cases. We worked out from a human perspective. We had to bring a team together. Now to train these people up is another job. We needed 12 people. We estimated it will take us 18 months for the 12 people to go through. Craig says, I can do it via machine learning. He goes, he builds a model. It takes him a month to build, I think a month to build the model, correct?
Yeah.
And guess what? How long did it take to run the cases? One night?
1 night, yeah. Okay.
One night, boom, published, done. So that's business value. Now, that country which wanted the law reports would have had to wait 18 months. We had to go to 4 or 5 checks to make sure it's right. We know the system is going to repeat and go through every single document exactly the same as it's been designed, and it's going to be perfect. So when you're looking at automation, look at every small little nook and crack in the business. And the biggest advice I can give you, and I'll give you some examples now, is automation is not about replacing a process. If you go down that path, you're doing it the wrong way. It's about re-engineering. It's about taking A, B, C, D, E, and making it A and B. So cutting out all the waste when you're looking at it. Because you must remember, what you're doing is, if you took a normal process and you try to automate every single thing, all you're doing is you've automated like the human requirement, but you could have done it in a far more efficient way or a better way because you've got the tech behind it. So always remember, when you're looking at it, do not look at it as replacing a scenario. So one of the examples we had in business, which is a bad example, the team comes to me and tells me, we have lots of requests for invoices, like at month end. So we send the statement out, it's our statements, and people ask us, is there for a copy invoice? Because they want all the open invoices. Now the simple thing there is, you can add a bot. The bot will pick up either the guy's telephone number phoning in, or an email address or something, and automate a process that will send out the statement. It's like the invoice. Simple, problem solved. But is it? It's not. Because why are the customers asking for the invoices? Have we figured out the root cause of why? Is it our statements are designed poorly? Did the product not get to them? but you need to get to that root cause. Don't hide a problem, because bots can hide a problem. It can really hide a problem in your business. So those are the sort of learnings that we're going through. We started this process, 18 months?
Yeah, 18 months ago.
It's about 18 months ago. So we are being very careful about how we pick our scenarios. Because you don't want to hide the problems of the business, because the customer still has the same problem. He has a problem interpreting your statement, he has a problem with your service. You've just mastered your dashboards and your SLAs are showing you freaking 100%. Everything is done in 2 seconds, but your customer experience, if you're measuring NPS, is dipping all the time because you haven't fixed the problem. So there's a good part to the automation, but if you implement it poorly, it could be catastrophic. Okay. So in terms of some of the examples, next slide there. So when we look at the bot, we're saying, in terms of our business case, so what do? We want to look at quality. We want to look at productivity. We want to look at cost saving and the implementation speed. So this I took from somewhere off the net. But when you interpret this, like the implementation speed is about service delivery to the customer. How quickly can we respond to a customer need? So let's use the bots to respond quicker, to process an order quicker, to classify our tickets. So as tickets are coming in, classify that we don't have to have somebody reading a ticket to classify it, whether it's an invoice query, an order query, whatever. Drop it into that workflow bucket. Okay? You've got cost savings, which we know that's going to come. But then the cost savings is, how do you as a business, because if you look at the financial perspective, when you budget, you're budgeting at a 5% cost growth or whatever it might be at CPI. Use that cost saving to reinvest in the business. Because if all of you which are in the IT industry know, when you go to your finance guy, your capital expenditure budget is going to go up by X, your operating expense will go up. He's not going to give you more unless you've done a business case. Right? But if you drive the savings, you can reinvest. So use this opportunity as a reinvestment strategy to say, this is what I've done, etc. And then productivity and the higher quality. If you are in the tech industry, you will know that my biggest problem is justifying IT as a profit center. We're always the expense guys. And this is the perfect platform for all IT professionals to change the image of IT, that we're not just desktop droppers. We're just not VC guys that make sure you can see each other like on the other screen. We are adding major value to the business. This here for me has changed my team's lives because they feel from a staff and like an employee perspective, they're adding massive value. They are changing the way the organization is working. Like when Rian mentioned like our digital environment, that's our goal every single day. How do we evolve into a digital environment? And these are the tools and stuff we are playing with, right? So, and quality. I mean, we all know that quality is the most important thing. And if you can get that right, then you're on the right page. So some of the use cases we've done, just to give you an example. So I often pick a number from the air, right? Because just to put these guys under some pressure. So I told them in the beginning of Jan, when we got our first couple bots out, I wanted 2 million rands worth of savings. Do you know how? Just pull it out from the air. So, and the guys, I mean, they scratched their heads, they did whatever. And what you delivered so far?
Just under a million.
Just under a million.
1.2 next month.
1.2 next month, which is October, but I know for what they delivered now, for the next 3 months, is our busiest time. Because all the students start in January, all the content processing is happening, it's going to rocket. Well, the projections are like 2.4 million by the end of the year. They've hit that number. Next year, the budget is 3 million. But you must remember now, it's compounded savings. But it's derived savings. So from last year, that stuff which we automated is part of the base now. So you got 2.4 plus the 3 becomes 5. And in year 3, it's now 7 and 10 and 12. And I promise you, in the next 3 years, Rian will be delivering like 10 million of the savings because The savings is part of the underlying. It's just a continuous saving based on the base. And so when you're doing your business cases and you're justifying it, just use that as a model, and you find very quickly that it's like your numbers go up. Yeah, so some of the things we have done, just to give you some quick examples here, is so there's some easy stuff to do where, like master file updating. We have a customer base of like 30,000 customers, and we'll always get some sales guy deciding to change his account structure. You want some other rep to go and update this account, etc. And now we've got to get people to go and capture and change the account details. They did a bot. The guy gives us the Excel file, puts the bot on, like in some location, the bot goes in, opens up our ERP system, and changes the account to the right. Now, normally you'll have to have a developer come in, go write a SQL script, and to update that. To get dev time is costing you money. If it takes him 2 days, I don't know, that could be 5 grand, 10 grand, or whatever it is. But the bot now, it can be a repeated process. That process is done. So they've done a whole lot of master file updates, which is no longer a headache for us because, hey, give it to us, that's not a problem. And the guys appreciate that from a company perspective because we've got a good response time. Where previously you've got to book a dev time, do you have the cost to fund it, et cetera, et cetera. Then we looked at some of the things that really annoyed the shit out of the staff, you know. So how do we pick up staff morale? Because when you're processing certain types of orders, which are highly complex, you can make mistakes. There's one particular order we have, which we call the FSP order. And the FSP order is for all the large clients, and they have hundreds of titles. And promise you 5 out of 10 times there's some mistake that goes wrong. And those are your key customers. And when they make one mistake, there's an invoice error, and your reputation goes down the tubes all the time. And the worst possible thing, if you guys do NPS, tell me, does anybody does the NPS surveys? Cool. I think you know billing is one of those ones where you should, like it should never be on there, but the minute you make a billing issue, they would go and respond negatively. So you always get your billing right. So what we did with the bot, yeah, Rian took the bot. So what we found was when the reps were doing the order, they would do it in Excel. Then that Excel file was being passed to an order capture cloud that then captured it on. So Rian just took the Excel file, did the parameters, and those orders are being processed. Now those orders used to take us, one order used to take the guy
About 8 to 10 hours?
8 to 10 hours, double checking, triple checking to make sure before it, it's like serious. Now it does it in
45 minutes.
45 minutes, done, you know it's perfect, sorted. So, you know, and just with that one particular item, that's just made the whole vibe in our customer service operations a bit better. They're not stressed out about this stuff. So look at those problems that really annoy your staff. Take that pain away from them. Okay? And then the other one, which is really cool, which I think is one of the flagship ones we've done, is which we thought was impossible. So, like I said earlier, our process is content. We deliver content. So we've got over 400, maybe 550 authors that write for us continuously. So we don't give them our master files. So the Word doc, like it's all in Word documents, we don't give them because they might mess it up. We give them a copy of that. The copy comes back and it's marked in all red and blue text, etc. It's to transpose their changes into our original file. Because the file, to cost to do the file, we've got to do styling, paging, like it's quite a process. The quickest way to get the updates in there is to get the file, copy the changes, but maintain the styling and the paging. Because you know, in a book, if you go off on a page, like your indexes go off. Now the index is where you got your references. So the minute the page alignment goes, you're stuffed. So you've got to redo the whole thing. So be very careful, like in that process. And so Rian and the team spoke, and they got a process now. where we get the files from the author, and some trickery they do, the bot comes on and actually does the changes. It copies all the changes, like it's not just a mail merge, it's like a word merge, but we give the user back a full event and a track of exactly what's happened. We tell them what they've deleted, what they've added, etc., etc. This process for a 300-page book would take the user
I think about 2 weeks to do.
about 2 weeks. And now?
It takes about an hour.
About an hour. Done.
2 weeks.
Right. Now this is October, November, December is our busiest period. That team used to work every day till 10, 11 at night just to get it out. Now that commitment from staff, we've got really good staff here and they're highly committed, you know. And it always took my hat off to them to say, wow, thank you so much. Because without that book going on, it is a massive impact like of revenue for us. But by this problem, it's like we've solved both. We've solved our revenue challenge and we've got staff that appreciate the stuff we're doing. They're just eating it up, you know. So I think there's so many good use cases, but you really need to just dig deep, dive deep, and get stuck in there. But don't just think that BPO is it, business process. It's about everything else. It's about alerting. It's about monitoring. It's about anomaly, detection. It's about serverless, like infrastructure. All these things here, if you build a strategy around each of those components, then you're on the right path. If you just pick one, yeah, one part's going to excel, but then you're actually doing your business a great disservice because you haven't looked at the entire ecosystem of products. So what we're trying to do here is get that ecosystem sorted out. So in most places, we've got the right platforms. Now we're tuning, we're configuring, we're tweaking. And I must say, to be totally honest, there's such a long way for us to go. So far, how many processes we've automated?
About 14.
About 14. And that took you from Jan?
From Jan, yeah.
From Jan, yeah.
Jan to now.
So you make your target 20 next year. Cool. Yeah, but the point being is that don't just look at business processes. There's so many other opportunities in the business, and there's so many other tools out there that give you. Look at NLP, like how to classify tickets. Look at machine learning. Another great example for us is, this will be the last one, is there's a property business we have. And part of the property business is about valuations. How do you evaluate a house? So we have certain data from the deeds office, which you kind of know. And what we had to do is figure out how to get the property value to be close, almost right. So the guys looked at it, and we've got the imagery. So we've got all the Google Maps, and we have our own map server. So what they did was they compared and said that any property that does not have a little blue spot, it means it doesn't have a pool, or it has a pool. If it has a pool, add another whatever percentage or another. So what we did was, there's machine learning. We took some photography, we pushed it in. This doesn't have pools. It figured out there's no blue. Then we pushed its homes with like pools in there. There's something different. And we said, well, that's a pool. And now we've built a valuation model based on like an imagery. Now, can you imagine in the normal world, you'd have to go out there, you'd have to inspect it. So we aggregated all the data sources from the deeds office and the various sources we've got. We did a bit of the imagery stuff, and now we have this valuation model. That would have been something from a business perspective impossible to do without automation, without the right technology. So I think, don't ever think there's something you can't do. Just find the right people. There's UIPath here. They'll definitely take you. This is a great piece of software. We really believe in it. It is a market leader. So I would definitely implore you to stay later and have a good chat to him.
I want to just thank them. This is really exciting to be in Durban. I'm based in Pretoria, so my visa was extended to come to Durban over the years. And yes, thank you very much. I'm quite quite pleased with the crowd and everybody here. So I'm a customer success manager. Now, when I applied for it, nobody could really tell me what it is. They got a long script of marketing and you're going to do this and this and this and this. And I just said apply. It ends up you need to be a Harry Potter. You need to be technical, project manager, salesperson. And I come from deep tech. I was the guy hidden in the basement with a slit for pizzas and Coke. And then they brought me out. So after a bit of personality training, they said to me, okay, there you go see customers. So what do I do? After the salesperson has made all the promises, I come in and I need to make sure that the customers actually can deliver what they've been promised. And our technology makes it easier. The salespeople in this case make less promises that we can't deliver. There's a couple, like Blue. If you ever try that, how many different versions of Blue do you get? Millions. We've done a similar one in the UK, and we actually built activity to actually bring it down to 16 bits so men can see it. So there's different ways of Blue. So I'm going to go through what RPA is. So they ask me how long do I want to talk. Please give me indication when you guys get tired of me, because I can do it for 2 weeks continuously. There's just so much that we've done. And this event is now post our forward. Last week we had our biggest release of new products, so I can make it now 4 weeks. So I'm going to try to do it in, you see I don't have a watch, I actually took it off, so he will be my timekeeper. So I'm going to go through what RPA is from cradle to grave and then into the AI. But I need to make sure that everybody really understands what I mean about bots. Because it's a concept that we throw around. RPA, these 3-letter swear words that everybody uses, AI, PPM, ECM, RPA. But what does it really mean for us? So my clicker failed. I've got the total technology failure today. As Terence mentioned, automation is nothing new. Artificial intelligence, the mathematics come out of the late 40s. It only becomes now relevant. We started with mainframes. We moved away from mainframes. We're all moving back to a mainframe concept, cloud. So we went from mainframes, PCs. Then we introduced GUIs to make it more presentable. Have you ever seen this on Facebook where they give millennials all technology and say, what's this? And the guys go, how do you work with this? You need to know commands. No, I don't want it. How would I work on my iPhone or my tablet if I need to type in commands? So we introduced GUIs. Then the internet came and the world changed. So did the viruses. Mobile. This is within the last couple of years. Mobile is not a new old technology. Within we learn what the phone is. Now we're on cloud and we're moving at a massive speed. And one of my biggest challenges in RPA that I'm picking up is people can't keep up with the technology. I don't know what your experience. We're moving so fast that just as you finish learning, whatever you've learned is outdated already. And you need to keep on going. I said to my parents, I'm not to go into chemical engineer or actuarial. I want to study for 12 months only. 15 years later, I could have done how many PhDs? So we're now into the robots. So what can they do? Well, the great-great-great-grandfather of a robot is a macro that we use in Excel. That's late 90s, early 2000s macros. But that worked on Excel or Lotus, or the guys that still know IBM Notes. So we can do, if you can work on it on your machine, the robots can interact with it. So log into systems, moving information. So one of the guys said, but it's going to take jobs. Previously, we only had hammers, humans. So we had a data migration problem I come from an insurance system environment. We had switch systems and we had data migration projects. 18 months to move all the information from one system to a new system. We employed people. Yes, it was job creation, but it was the wrong people, wrong tool for the job. Now we created the digital workforce to do that for us faster. so that we can interact with any database. Read, write, never write to a database directly, go through your application. Bad IT. Scrape data. So we're doing something called Academy Live, where we actually teach CIOs that doesn't know IT, or CFOs, how to extract data from Takealot, especially now before Christmas. It takes them 30 minutes, and they can build their own process to extract information from any web page into Excel and email it to themselves. And they know nothing about our software. It's just that easy to use, which is a pro and con. Connect to APIs. So now you've got the things that you as a human can interact with, but you can also now interact with the stuff humans can't, the service layers. So you can bypass it and move data faster. APIs were the hot go for in the late, 4 or 5 years ago. It was the thing everybody wanted. Extract PDFs. OCR, my dear friend OCR. Everybody wants to go OCR because they are fed up with invoices. We have a solution I will quickly demo you today, where you pass us any invoice and we extract the data. You don't need to tell me where the stuff is on the invoice. We can extract it on the receipts, and we're moving with more document types. Context is one of the more complicated stuff, and I'm quite impressed with what you guys have done. And yeah, we will have a discussion about that later. Then open of emails, dev by email. If you had a problem, you send the email. Now we've got those millions of emails we need to process. So one of our biggest requirements and use cases is take my email problem away. If you walk into one of my business guys, they got hundreds of unread emails, and they just said email bankruptcy. Fire me, I can't. So somebody else can take over these emails. Who doesn't have that problem? Yo. Okay, so there's a big opportunity in Durban. And then make calculations. I've picked up a lot of challenges where they make large if statements, and they're called ML, or lookup. So you can do anything with mathematical calculations to do interaction with. So the bot is not limited to just what you work with, but the possibilities is really endless. And I will show you some of the things that we've done and the use cases. We've got the finance guys, processing to pay. This is just a couple of areas that is the easy ones, but I do like your guys' approach. Fix the problem, not just automate for the sake of automation. Supply chain, IT. We forget about what we can do, and we forget the reason we've done stuff. So we need to look at the two one. In HR, we've got the one that onboard is already automated. And we found actually that the problem why offboarding wasn't automated, but onboarding was fully automated with PowerShell scripts and all the other tools you get off the market. Is because if a new employee gets started and he can't access a system or don't have things, the manager fights. And IT got scared and they found ways to make it faster. But once the guy leaves, nobody fights, and they just leave the account dormant, which is security problems, which is compliance problems, which eventually creates other problems down the line. So there's things that we can automate and help and assist with, which we actually forgot, because it's not a burning topic. We've got other problems. I wanted to show you why we work, and we should stop. Let me tell my English is rounding up. Human doing and become a human being, because we work more like robots and not be creative for what we really are for. 2005, the company started by creating SDK. That's a software development kit, so we can give it to other systems. One of our competitors, with the 2 letters, actually use our software to do automation. That's when we started to do 2005. There were 10 people. 2015, the guys actually started, RPA got coined and it's now the hot topic. And the guys actually realized that our SDK is a very good RPA tool, because we're based on a Windows system, so it's an easy drag and drop. We grew from then 100 And when I joined, Mike, which some of you guys know in Durban, he was employee 1,400 in November. In 2017 we were 700. In July we were 800. July last year. I joined, I was 2,400. 2.5 months later, and there was 1,000 people more. So the company grew because the demand was that good. But it took us 10 years to become an overnight success. So a lot of work beforehand to get. And currently, 2019 is one of our big years. We are the fastest growing IT company that they've recognized with the speed we grow. With some cons, there's some problems with companies that go that fast. Your infrastructure is not always up to speed. But last week we released one of the biggest new software to put us really into a market leader. So who doesn't know who Forrester and Gartner is? Those are the guys that people pay a lot of money to tell who's good and who's bad and who needs to go do what and what to look out. It's the advisories to company to go buy. So we are currently the leaders. We are good, or the other guys are good. We're just better at this stage, and we keep doing that by investing. If we stop investing in our own products, we will fall back. I early worked on BP. They stopped. They're too slow, and that's why they're falling back. It's still a good system, and I'm not a salesperson. I'm a technical guy, so I work on one motto. If you want the honest answer, ask me, and we'll tell you the honest answer. Both of the systems are good. We're just better and we work faster. And we're simple. This was the simple life when I joined. Anybody going into RPA now, brand new? I've met a couple of guys that haven't touched it and want to approach it. This was my life. It was easy. It took me about a morning to understand. It's not your life anymore. I will show you just now. It started with the studio. That is, anybody who's done development, Visual Studio, it's a kitchen where you cook up your processes, you drag and drop. It's a quite simple thing to work with, and then you make it complicated by adding your custom code, and you can do some very hardcore stuff in there. You've got your orchestrator. Imagine that is your digital HR workflow, work manager, report repository, where everything that you do in your environment, you start off with. That's your center point where you give out work for your workforce. And then you've got robots. What's your employee estimate per robot? So we've done a calculation subject to how bad your environment looks, that a single robot is equivalent to 4 to 12 robots. If you go to Massmart, one robot did the same work as 156 people. That is just how much work a bot can do. So we've got two types of bots. Unattended, which means they've got their own cold body profile, like a warm body employee. Cold body is your unattended. So they work on their own machine somewhere on the server, and then you get your attended, which is, see cyborgs in plants, and they work on your machine with you, and they assist you to work faster. So you get the Excel document, and you look at it and you say, I'm not going to capture all of this information, and you click a button, it takes all that information and loads it into a web page, and you click OK. And you look like a superstar. So we had scenarios where our unattended in a call center, one of the guys, they did the employee of the month, and they called out Ben, and nobody stood up, and they said, Ben, employee of the month, please come forward. And it ended up that I forgot to take the bot processes out. That is not good for your employee morale, by the way. They got quite demoted. So that our environment was simple. Drag and drop, low code, orchestrator, which is an IaaS web server, works quite easy. And then you got the two bots that works on your environment. Go big, how big? So we've said a robot can be 4 to 12. If you've got a very bad system and everything goes manual, it goes 156. But let's work with 10. Our biggest deployment currently is 50,000 bots. That's quite large. And they're all working on the same infrastructure. So that infrastructure is quite big. It is Azure. It's a small company overseas that hosts cloud. But kicking off 1,250 processes a minute. New jobs starting. It's a massive amount of work being moved away from humans to actually do better stuff. 15,000 logs, that is business intelligence, data mining. So the most valuable commodity in the world today is data. Data, Google is valued because of a large volume of data they got, and we voluntarily give our data away. So the companies of today is going to go into AI. Everything is moving towards artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, either you start to build your own data collection today for your own AI in the future, or you're going to do AI on data you bought. One of the retailers in Dubai pays $1 million a year for information on where to put displays on their showrooms. That's data they could have gathered themselves. What's the value of data? The companies can only determine the value themselves. What are they willing to pay for that information to get that bit more edge? And we are bleeding a lot of data. So yes, we're looking at how to automate the process, but there's so much more metadata on that invoice that we're leaving, cash on hand. So we get the invoice and we immediately process it. Why not delay based on our payment terms? Make that now we know we've got 30 days, pay it on day 30. Or you've got 7-day discount, 5%, 7%. Let's pay it on day 7 to cash and capitalize on that benefit. Those are now more things that is reliable. Usually I come from the insurance, we didn't trust our humans to process it on time, and then we lose it. And that was cost. So we now made systems better and faster to do our cash flow. I funded my projects on those savings. So I had an arrangement with HR. For every saving, I'm taking 50%. They take 50%, I take 50% for my budget, because I had no budget. So we worked on that process. We are not just a software reseller. Community is a very important thing for us. Sharing is caring. I'm doing this event not because it's my day job. It's actually not what I'm supposed to do as based on my contact. I'm doing this because I'm proudly South African. I want to help. I want to enable guys. And this company's morals are very much aligned, except they want money for certain things. Academy. We give all our training for free. You need online access and you need data. Certification for business analysts, developers, level 1, 2, and 3, solution architects, infrastructure guys. So if you've got the base of what IT is, our software is for free. Our level 3 certification is for free until we say it's not for free anymore, but it costs us money. But we're actually investing because there's such a shortage and opportunity. We give our training for free. Certification costs $100, 1,400, and what's the exchange rate? And 60 that you can use, and anybody can use it. And it's really not that difficult. If you've got the capacity, there's a lot of opportunity in South Africa, Durban, Cape Town, Joburg, to get into the job market. The big problem with people can't get into the job market because they don't have experience. Now we've got the opportunity, there's a lot of demand, willing to invest for you to gain experience. Start with it. The Go Marketplace. That's our version of the Play Store, or if you're Apple, the Apple Store, where if we've got new activities, and I'll explain what the activity really is. So if you build something that you want to share with the global community, you can upload it and people can use it. So the first version of it was free, and eventually it will become you build something and you share it and they will pay for like you pay on Play Store, to utilize that. But that is how we deploy new things that's faster than our software deployment cycles. Community Connect, collaboration. If you've got a problem, how to work with people. There's a lot of people overseas that work for basic credits. So they build profiles. Young guys that don't have better things to do, and girls don't have better things to do that wants to gain experience working for them because they're building a profile. I've done a lot of free software in my life to gain experience. Then we've got the forum. The average response time is 15 minutes. If you post on it till you get help or somebody gives you some feedback, it's 15 minutes. And it's not UiPath employees only. The majority are non-employees willing to share. If you ask very pretty, very nice, and you give them a very nice problem, they actually give you the source, how to do it. Here's the file, just import it into your system. Please check for funny stuff in there, logic bombs and stuff like that, but they assist a lot. Global partners. We've got some partners here, we've got big GSIs, and the thing about our partner network is you can become a partner without investing money. You need a couple of, am I tying the tooth? Other software companies, you need to put money down, and it's not a little bit, it's a small flat and a big house with a car attached to it that you need to put down to become a partner. So you can become a partner, there's some things that you need to sign, a liver, a kidney, and a left arm, but that's not serious, no, I'm joking. And then our technology. We are partnering with all the big guys because we are RPA solution provider. We're not going to compete with Microsoft machine learning. We will integrate and work with Microsoft. We won't create our own cloud. We will work with Azure. We will work with Google, Oracle. Those are partners that we work with, and we've got native integration with them. We created a drag and drop so you can easily work with those technologies. So how many partners do we have? The last count that I had was 300. And there was only about 12 where we actively, the other guys came to us and said, yes, our integration with UiPath. So, as we said, don't go buy a new technology, rather look at the technology you have. You understand your own IT landscape. Use what you've got, use what you have, that you already know, that you're already comfortable with. So we've got a large footprint from AI, architectural, BPM, document understanding, natural language, process mining, and industries. Now, we have now last week deployed our own versions. So we've worked nicely with partners, their technology is good, but we're also a business. We need to pay salaries, we need to pay officers, and we need to pay our developers into developing new stuff. So we created new things. We built our own models that we give to our customers in AI and ML models. Image classification, document classification, intent. We're busy working on a natural language one, but I don't think South Africa is that easy to automate. We've got 11 official language and 30,000 permutations of them. I work with a customer that got an office in Cape Town and an office in Joburg. And you pull the Cape Town office emails and they work. You pull Joburg and nothing works. You put them combined and nothing works. So yes, South Africa got its unique fun in normal understanding. And then we add that other thing that I call SMS language, which I don't understand. And it becomes even more creative. Process mining. And I want to show you guys this. Would it be nice if bots building bots? The first thing that comes up when I hear that is Skynet, T1000, end of the world. So we now built a process and we integrated with a couple of customers, so we procured a new one called Process Gold and Stepshot. So Stepshot is documentation of what you do, so it makes screenshots for your PA, make the work easier. So they don't need to go repetitive click screenshot type. So it makes the screenshots, and you add a comments to tell the developer what to do, and it eventually gives you a small package of how the process can work. But let's take it further. When you do your business analyst, they will go into a department, there's 10 people doing the same job, and they say, you're the most knowledgeable, I will automate your process. But there's 4 different ways to do the same job. This one do this way, this one is doing this way, and this one got separate customers, that's difficult. He does it actually different way. You build a process based on your SME that knows everything, you deploy it and everything fails, and you don't know why. So we actually built something called we bought a company in Netherlands, Process Gold, it's not on the slide. That shows you. You install it on all 10, it mines the activity, it sends it to a machine learning model to say, this is what the users have done. Find for me commonalities, path, and all. Yes, you can whitelist and blacklist applications. We don't want to automate Facebook and FMB payments. So you whitelist and blacklist applications and then process and show you different paths of the same job. And what's the most and best way to do it. And then what you then need is somebody to go and say, you're going off here, why? That's the reason the human is still there, to go think. Why is the user going there? Because it's off screen, it's off the system. Why is he going to ask or sending out the email? What didn't he find? What were you looking for? PPM, human in the loop. So we test AI, and everybody knows you get a confidence between 0 and 1 with 16 digits. So it's actually quite 0 and a couple of million. So we built a human in the loop. So if you're not really testing your computer model, you can send it to a human to say yes, to confirm, is this a signature? Is this a pool? Is this a blue dot or is it a blue card? So it pops up with that part. So you still want to have human interaction for that verification, just for that double checking. So there's a theme that they say RPA is the path to AI. So RPA is the basic job. It's the mechanics. Now we're starting to add skills. So when you start a process, the bot can only do what you taught it to do. So your problem with the legal guys is you need to bring in 12 guys and then train them for extended of period. But then you suddenly need 15 guys. Where do you get that third? So a bot is similar to that. You get one entity and you start to add skills to it. But you get the if-else skill. Then you need to add, I don't really understand how type of machine learning or AI model, and you add that. So you're making him graduate from matric into varsity, you're giving him advanced skills, and then you can copy and paste. Something that you can't really do well with humans. They're badly cloned. So skills that we are working on is computer vision. Computer vision is a very broad terminology because you get computer vision that focus on identifying objects. Self-driving cars needs to focus on finding humans so they don't drive over them. Finding cars so you can avoid them. Finding cliffs so they don't go straight and go around the cliff. But ours don't drive. It's working on a secure system. Usually our processes don't kill humans. So we focus our computer vision on UI, GUIs, what's happening on the screen, finding text boxes, finding buttons, so that it can click and understand what's going on there. You only use this if all other methods that we also provided. Selectors, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can interact with the system before you start to work with computer vision. Syntax. Anybody knows what syntax is? It's when you couldn't get your flat client to work on your server and you couldn't develop web pages, you host it on the server and you replicate it like a picture on this guy and they can click on the picture and it will react on the server. That's a simple version of what syntax is. So we need to interact with that. So we use computer vision to see the picture because it's a flat. On the machine, it's like an image. Document understanding. Anybody worked on OCR? Worked with ABI, invoice data extraction? Now, if you work with municipalities, one of the first use cases everybody starts with, they want to extract invoices from a municipality, but you've got 4 different municipalities, so you need to build 4 different templates. This municipality looks like this municipality looks like this, or your customers, or suppliers that send you invoices. So everyone, you need to change how the invoice look. It takes time, it's costing a lot of money. Why not train the bot to say, look on the file like a human, identify what's on it, and you say it's an invoice, it's a receipt, it's a quote. And if it's one of those, extract the information that you expect on those files for me. So if it's an invoice, extract for me the invoice number, the line items, the VAT, the currency, the payment due date, all the party and those information. So we build so that the machine don't need to be taught what the invoice, how every invoice looks like, but say, these documents give me structured information out of it. Process understanding, we briefly spoke about that, is the process gold, so that it can build in the processes for you. BAs is one of your cheapest resources that you can recruit. Joking. They're very expensive, worth it, employees to go and sit and translate business for the IT, hopefully that they can then automate. But it's costing, it's an investment. So that's only feasible for your high value, high volume processes. But if we go to task, the 1 or 2 people having repetitive work, you want it to build it faster for you. So that is why we brought that in, to reduce the cost of implementation, the speed of implementation. And also, you don't know what you don't know. If you go to a customer or your employees and you say, I want to automate, you must give me 3 processes. They're going to give you the 3 processes they don't want because it's manual, but everybody got job security on mind, so they're not going to give you the processes that you really might need. And this will allow you to then find things that you didn't know. And then conversation understanding. If you get the email, to actually understand what's going on in that email. Anybody investing into artificial intelligence machine, if you can crack emails in South Africa currently, it's a good opportunity. But not an email in its as a single. You need to follow the trail. You need to be able to contextualize. This email is with regards to that, is to regards to this, about this. Because if you just say, please complete my transaction. What transaction? How do you draw from what the guy is talking about? Usually they need to give you some reference, your ID number, or go look up. But also you need to do fraud detection. Email spoofing. So I can send the email that looks like yours, and the robot picks it up and processes it. Now I created new loopholes. We forgot about IT 101. SQL injections. Extracting certain things we forgot and then just pass it in. So we need to still keep in mind. So when we look at our conversation understanding, we need to actually look for what the intent is and what it's not saying. In insurance, we had something called treat to customer fairly. South Africans are very good at writing a small paragraph. They insult you, they give you a compliment, and you need to go wash yourself. Because we just have a way to say that. And our overseas models don't really understand it. So your mother in Afrikaans in Cape Town and Joburg have 2 different meanings. That's a very good one. So if they refer to that, I've tested this on our models and they don't understand it. So yes, it can do translation through Google, but it doesn't really tell you what it says, what the guy tried to say to you. So there's a lot of work that needs to be localized. What can you automate? What scenarios can you automate? First, 100% human. That is automated to a degree if you've got systems in place that gives you not a red light, but beep, 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 beep. When I did my IT, we actually said, okay, this beeps means this beeps means the memory is loose, or this beeps means the hard drive is failing, and we wrote exams on beep. It feels like Morse code. And you had dots somewhere so that you can remember all the things. But still, now, no robots involved. We call our system or our software robots because somebody in 2012 decided it's bots. It's a bad terminology, but let's keep with it. Then we've got attended intervals. So the guy gets the email and he opens the attachment and there's an invoice with 1,000 lines. Clicks a button, the robot reads all 1,000 lines and puts it into the system. Copy and paste. It's a repetitive work. It would have taken you 10 minutes, 10 hours to do that, but you want to do it on your machine. That's task automation. That's a high volume, low return types of automation. It saves you a couple of seconds, maybe a minute or 10. Attended in tandem. So somebody phones you or sends you an email. Once the email, you open the email, you run the process to say, have this guy send me any other emails with regards to this. And it goes off to the back system and it brings for you information or go do something in the background. So you're busy capturing on system 1 and system 2, you're doing a parallel runoff. So while you're typing all this information, he's copying it to the background. So you don't need to. How many times we work on a system and we copy it over? If you don't do it, you're lucky. If you haven't done it, you're even luckier. So that is your background. Then a hybrid. So the guy asks for address change. You type the address in system 1, but you've got 5 different systems. So change it here, but others needs to go through a more rigorous change and approval. So it sends it off to the back office to go do the change and update and issue a new policy because you need to actually send in proof and send an email. So it can work on a highly complicated any permutation of it. Partially unattended. So pinging your server, you're trying to access it. It pops up, fails. Ping your server and say, this is actually the problems. One of my big use cases that we've done is NOC, Network Operational Control, where they're actually looking at servers. Even in IT, that's automated to a degree. They keep on watching servers. We've bought now systems that look at, while the guy's busy, to go find other problems while he's looking at, why couldn't I get to this thing? Network lay, ping the network switch, and all of those systems and bring that to the front. And then fully automated. That is where we want to go, because we want to sell software, where we get the email, we process it end to end, and we send everything off. No human involved. In the finance, please disinvest, and it sends the money to the guy back to his bank account. No approval, nothing like that. So yes, that is your true automation gold, is your fully unattended. You upload your files and it ends up in a book printed and no human needs to look at it. Daniel Names, that's our CEO, the guy that worked for Microsoft in 2005, said, done with the corporates, I want to go do something in Romania. The software started in Romania, and anybody knows, first thing that comes up with if I say country Romania, Dracula. We're not blood-sucking software sellers. But yeah, so the software is to make humans back to think, become creative. We stop innovating because we get involved in time, expenses, manual things. It's one of the reasons we don't see UFOs anymore, because we're all busy on our cell phones after hours. We stop being humans. We stop observing. because we're too busy with life or with work to really live. And then we're going to have a quick break, and then I'm going to do some chat. But first, this. So I showed you the first part, the top, Studio Orchestrator Robots. That was last week Monday. My life, my company I worked for, everything I needed to know about. Last week they released the bottom part, Studio X, bringing out a studio for the business so they can automate their own process for tasks. So it's a wizard-guided type of process, so they don't need to understand really what they do. Just answer yes, no, else, if, bigger ask questions. Which Excel document? What do you want to do? So it asks questions and then build a process on how to automate that. Cloud platform. Not everybody got the infrastructure available or the teams on site to host their software. So we're creating it in the cloud. So they don't go, play now. So they can stop that. Then connect enterprise, pipeline. If you go down the route of automating, your pipeline is quite important. You need to keep him busy. He needs to know where your pipeline, where's your 20 processes coming out for next year? You need to have a process or system that can ask the business all the questions so you don't need to go. So Connect Enterprise is basically your pipeline. It asks you, what's your idea? What do you want to automate? And it guides you through 9 questions, basic what, where, how, when, and then you send the BA in, or you allow Connect Enterprise to send our process mining, our snapshot to go, and the business go click, 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 and show you how the process looks, and it makes a recording, and then sends it off to the process to go and investigate if this is actually a good candidate. So let the business do all the work for you to show you really what they want to automate. So we build those tools and Connect assist with that. Then human in the loop. If the robots fails, they need a little bit tuck. Everybody got a mentor that says, don't do it like this, go do this. This is a 7 or this is a 5, this is not an S. If you do OCR, yes, it says this, but it actually meant this. So that verification. Anybody working with Salesforce.com? Salesforce.com?
Our account managers.
Sorry about it. So, no. We brought out the connector, so you can, for free, automate into Salesforce.com. But if you work on Salesforce, you want to kick off, so if you change the opportunity, you want it to go do work, issue the contract, issue the invoice. We now allow that so that it kicks it off. Test automation. And please be gentle on me, I'm not allowed to talk a lot about it. But test automation is a whole new RPA, test automation. It is making the test environment, which is the existing environment, a wake-up call for them. It is really something that we are now pushing because our technology is good in automating work. Test is also work. So we're deploying a lot of new tech. And I will show you a quick overview, no photos, of how it looks, but it is something that's totally going to change and push the limits of how the guys currently test and how they work on testing. And that's all the non-AI. Now we're making about what's smart. Computer vision. We're now on version 2, and the best part of it, you get 2 deployment options. Cloud, so you don't need to worry about it, you just have an API and you're concerned about POPI and GDPR. If you don't know about it, your life is simple. So you send it off and it can work, or on premises, but then you need GPU or CPU. We're working on a CPU model, but it works on GPU, you need the tin to run GPU processing. That's graphic cards, old Bitcoin working. Document understanding, stop building templates, pass me a document, and we will accept the information. That's where we want to work towards. Process understanding, quite a bit. AI fabric. Now, I spoke about what we've got. My big corporate companies have built their own models. You've built, invested in your own models. How do you work with it? So we created a container that you say, here's my model, so that the guy that builds it don't need to understand how the model works, don't need to know what the model really does. You just need to know the model wants this and it can give me this back. So you host it, and the RPA developer, less skilled, then drag and drops the information and you consume. Because AI is good, but it's a jar with a branding and a couple of wires. How does it get to your business? How do you bring that jar to the business processes? So the AI fabric assists to bring and allow the business processes to consume it. So make a fraud detection. So you've got a model that says, if all of this happened, it might be fraud, and you pass the values in and it will tell you, am I allowed to pay this invoice? What's my chances of 0 to 1 if it's fraudulent? And then analytics. In Afrikaans, in agriculture, we've got the thing, om te meet is om te weet. To measure is to know. If you don't measure what's going on in your business, you don't know. And this is not just, you've got a balance sheet, it's positive or negative. This is, what do you want to know per process? What's optimal? And this is coming in with our products. So while you're busy with the process, it can tell you, yes, the bots are running and everything, but how's the business process? How healthy is the information on that? So it's your AI analytics, prediction. So this is the normal trend, there's an abnormality. How do you handle that? So Python is just the language that most guys have now go for. R is falling behind, so it's the competition between VB and C#. VB lost the war, C# took over. So that is more your enterprise. And I'm very, on that, that's not RPA. Be very sensitive for employing people that want to go into a niche language like F#. You don't get skills in South Africa for those languages. Look at your enterprise type of languages. Stay away from the niche ones. How do you make and support it if that person leaves? South Africa got a major problem. 14 people, 1/4 leaves a day on average. And that's only to the place where they like sheep differently. This is gifts because I don't trust technology and I have the technology failure. Not your fault, not your Wi-Fi. So when you start now with your RPA, you're going to need to submit some ideas. This product is released one day, and it is basically guiding you through, this is a GIF, so I don't have a pause, it will repeat. So it's basically guiding you through your selection of, or your questions. Is it automatable? I'm quite impressed with your methodology of don't fix just a process, don't just do automation. Because all you're doing is you take a caterpillar, not making it a butterfly, just making it very fast. So you're taking that worm and you're sending it off in your business quicker and you're hiding underlying problems. And I think a lot of my customers are missing that message. They're taking bad processes and they make them embedded and fast. And they forget about why they're doing it. So this Connect Enterprise assists you to now facilitate it. So why we're bringing this out is because all our customers that have been on this journey for the last 6 to 18 months ran into a problem. What next? How do I now go more, faster, bigger, for the right reasons? Don't do automations for the wrong reasons. So this assists you to go and ask your customers, IT, I'm talking from an IT point, the employees, what do you want us to automate? What do you want to focus on? What processes do you want? And then you can deploy systems down so that it can work and get information for you. I'm a lazy developer. I hate doing things over and over. My Control-C and Control-V, copy and paste, is the most used button because most of the things, there's very few new things in my previous life available. Now it is copy and pasting and sharing it. So it allows you from cradle to grave, from the idea to measuring your ROI, your return on investment, to actually see how the worm becomes a full-blown butterfly. And when you go down to automation, know the company real product. What does the company really sell? A telco. What does a telco really sell? Airtime. It sells customer experience. Let somebody drops the call the whole time or lose data. You load it 100 meg, tomorrow morning you wake up and there's nothing. And it was 2 hours later. The guy will move away. If he phones and there's a delay, there's an echo, that's customer experience. Insurance. What was our true product that we sold to our customers? Not insurance, we sold trust. They trust us to give us money that when they're in a problem, we will assist them to get out of that problem. So understand what your true value is. So when you go down the automation, consider what your true product is that you're truly selling and keep data in mind. How can that data assist to be more trustworthy than your competitor, getting that edge? This is process gold. That lines that's going around it, and I will go through various versions of this, that's the things that you didn't know, your PA didn't tell you, or your SME didn't tell you about, I'm skipping this step, or I'm going past this step for this reason. And that one is going, on average, a couple of times. All of those light, and the guys in the back seat, all the light things that are coming up, that's the things that they didn't really tell you that they're also doing while they're busy with that process. Yes. So what process go do differently is working on your machine and recording clicks, spaces, open. You're opening this one, it logs it to a database. So if you're going to do this, you're going to need space because we're going to generate a lot of data. We're going to mine process gold. So we're going to mine a lot of information on more people. The bigger the sample, the 101 of AI. Why is AI working now? Because we've got information, more information available and processing power to a limited degree. So process gold will be installed on 10 people's machines doing the same job. And they will be doing that job. And you will build a persona profile of different processes. So there's some manual work where you will say, okay, this guy's doing process 1 and process 2, split them out. This is process 1 and process 2, split them and group them. And then it will analyze it through algorithms. What's the best path? So you want to have, say, 10 people, we're only processing for this 2 hours for the next day, only this process, because we want to profile this process. It's very difficult. Apply Logic 101 and you'll see if get guys doing different things. The robot won't really know what you're doing because even the BA will get confused. Okay, are you now typing email for what? For something else? So at that point you disable WhatsApp on the machines, you disable Facebook, so that those screens things don't really come up. But it actually just look at the user activities and the systems. What are they doing? Opening a PDF. What's the PDF? What are they doing with that? There is 15 different versions of the same process. There's your most common one, and there's your different ones. Now you can go and look, okay, this one, what made it different? So that you can code for that exception, that you can build in that exception. Now it's not just a classification, like you build your classification for your change request and you put it in a work queue. Now you subdivide your work queues into more advanced reasons for that. So you're now building info on getting it more.
How does it aggregate data? So does it push it up to Azure or to
So we cannot do process mining on company from sensitive information in Azure. So it will need to be on-prem.
and is that a on-prem server with what exactly? Was it So, I mean, this could generate a huge amount of data, right?
Right. And Azure data is the most costly. If you look at your bill on Azure, data is usually one of the things that cost, especially your download. So there's different things that's coming, but I can share that once it's more announced. This is really very hot off the press. This is actual recordings of Excel and various ones, and I will go down the video a bit. But this is how fast a robot works in Excel. And Excel is one of our best ones because that's where business starts. If you want to shut down the world, you disable Excel. So Excel working is very, very fast. And you've got two options, with or without the license. So you can actually interact with our bots without having Excel installed on the machine. That's how natively we interact with our partner Microsoft. So working on Excel is quite fast. And it can hyperthread, so it can do more than one thing at the same time. So we've got a web page called RPA Challenge that we created. Our first challenge was take an Excel document, that's here at the bottom, and read the information into the page. But the main thing is the fields will change every time you submit. Just to prove to you the robot don't care where the fields are. It can actually identify where the fields move to and fill it in. Computer vision. Who can actually do Minesweeper? Who doesn't know Minesweeper? There's the millenniums. So this is computer vision, understanding what's happening on the screen quite actively and quite fast. This is just making it fun. Have fun in life. Life is way too short just to bother about just work. So you can calculate. The algorithm is if there's a 2, you're very closer to a bomb. If there's 3, there's more bombs. Doesn't matter how and what. If you can do it on it as a human, the bot can replicate it. Paint. Drawing Batman. X and Y coordinates. It does it faster than it takes to code it, by the way. But it's not that difficult. It is actually just simple coordinates. And then one of the main things that I keep on get asked, can it work with images? So we've got business Exco reports that you need to do every month. So you take certain information, paste it into a presentation, you compile it to PDF and send it to the secretary for the Exco, Manco, all of those codes. The bot extract that information and build the report for you. Task automation. And this is 2018 technology. This is the old 2017, 2018 that I'm showing you. Phone a friend, 50-50. I've got the bot on the other side of the chatbot, so there we go. It actually works on a very simple reason how it works. It can make a mistake here, subject to how you manipulate Google. It works on what's the most times this answer comes up or what answer didn't come up, way of elimination. So the reason I play this is because we talk but we don't show. So I want to just show the basics first, then we can go and do a quick. So this is Studio. Let's try the big screen. Boom. which one was better? That one, because I can't see here. Did that one display better? Okay. Sorry. I need to find the most optimal technology. Do you see code? A bit. Small bit. So that is how a quick process looks. Anyone want to guess what this process does?
Just send emails, open up Outlook.
This is classifying unlimited amount of emails on Gmail. So to extract emails, that's the code to get all the emails from whatever IMAP email address you use. That one provides the information. To extract the emails. Username, where to go, user access, port, and your configuration. There's not really code involved that you need to know. This is what the activity allows you. With making the developers build a activity and then give it to you so that you can consume that by just providing the parameters of what to do. So this one logs onto a Gmail account, extract all the emails, and then classify it. The next step is it just picks which emails to work with, is there email, and then classify emails. This one I've added, and the reason I want to talk about that is, this is why I don't like OneDrive, because it adds foreign files to my collection, and I need to go look if it's not that one. So this is just normal programming, and that is working with your AI. It's activity that you drag in. You select your AI model, you provide it an email, and it will come back with a response. It's this classification with this rate. So our technology is to make it easier for the average person to build the process. There is some advanced stuff in the background, but we don't need to know it. So you don't need to know how the ones and zeros means anymore. You type code. If it's a developer, you don't need to know code, you drag and drop pictures that ask you different questions. That's how technology has moved on. And it makes the learning curve easier for humans. We tend to learn more hard and slowly than bots. So to run this, just want to make sure I'm still connected to that one. Moving from one environment to another environment because my AI skill is somewhere sitting in Ireland drinking beer. Presentation games. Fun and games. So while we're waiting for the machine to boot up, any questions that you guys have?
In what sort of sector are you seeing the most uptake in RPA?
RPA is the most difficult software I've ever thought can work because firstly there's not one industry that works on and not one department that's common. So in South Africa, the guys with money. That's the first one. So the telcos invested quite because they've got some free cash, and the guys that are just retrenched, so the guys that are going into some financial distress that needs to keep on the effort while losing the money. So the industries that's battling there, and then also the guys that are pushing the edge. You guys need to have better service delivery. So if I look at the 150 customers that I've recently just touched base, everybody from the banks. We've got Tertius that's do logistics. They've got the use case on YouTube just now. They took a 4-day process and made it an hour. there's a lot of things in any industry. So it's not really that one focus. What's your speciality? Where do you want to focus? Come up with a offering, a value proposition for them. Show them it's worth it, because nice to have in South Africa is not selling. Europe, automate for the reason they can't find people willing to do the work. They don't have people that want to sit behind the desk anymore. I've got a friend in Germany, exchange student for my wife's days, and she doesn't have a job that lasts 2-3 months. Every time we speak, she's at a new job because she got bored. So they automate because they can't keep people in a position. South Africa, we automate for different reasons. One of my biggest challenges is people bleeding. We can't find skilled people fast enough. Also skilled people. If you find people, there's enough people in South Africa, unemployment is just an indication. What's the one? The 27, 47, subject to how you Google it. We've got enough people, but they're not skilled and they take too long to, and they're unreliable. So we've got a large stack. So they automate those jobs because they need to service their customers, and they need to reliable, repetitive, quality, all of those that the guys have shown. So those industries are your go-to. So yeah.
Sorry.
The thing with drag and drop, I found it's great when you're doing exactly what it's made for, but if you got something that needs to be a little bit different, then how customizable are those blocks? Can you look at the code in the back end and keep it?
Okay, so to make it for you very simple, so firstly you might have a couple of blocks that you keep on need to bring over. So you can package that as a block by making it a library. So you can say, okay, I keep on clicking on log on and all of this, make that a library. So I pass you the username and password, you open the browser and you log on. So you can make that. But we're even better. In Visual Studio, you can go to the marketplace and say UIPath, and we provide you the package, everything that you need to code in .NET, your own activity, native. What do you want? How deep do you want to go? So we are very proud to be an open platform. You can build your own activities for your own line of business, systems, your own system, your business systems, whatever you want. So how deep do you want to go down the rabbit hole?
Can you then also have like private processes?
Yes. So we've got Go. Connect Enterprise comes with the MyGo, so in your own company. So LexisNexis can create their own, where they share it internationally within the group, not publicly. But also you've got Git. We integrate with Git, source repository. You can share it internally. So remember, this is still IT. IT 101 still applies.
Sorry, okay. And the cost, like when people use the system, like a license typically for, is it only large corporates that can afford this, or is it going to be like the smaller businesses as well? And personally, can I just use it?
Okay, so personal, let's start with the easy one.
Yes.
Personal, community is mahala, very expensive.
Okay, cool.
So for personal use, that's why community is there. You can use it for your personal use. Then go read the terms and conditions very carefully. But there's a small little terms and conditions with certain things. For the big enterprises, they get a 60-day free trial, which they can use it. And there's a different version for certain companies that got less than 250 employees with a turnover of under 5 million US. Most companies of my friends are under that, can utilize the community for free under certain conditions, which is quite a nice package because you get cloud platform.uipath.com, the orchestrator, single tenant for free. You get 2 studios, developers, for free. You get 2 attended pods for free and 1 unattended pod for free. That's 5 pods. List price, of that is over $30,000 of value per year. Our partners don't want to hear that. So there is certain terms and conditions that you need to comply to use it. For personal use, you can do quite a lot.
Hi, I have two questions.
So, yeah.
In terms of the software, there's seems to have access to device controllers. What sort of administrative privileges would you need to run the software on a normal, like bank machine or laptop that's got minimal, like 2 gigs of RAM, that kind of thing?
Okay, so the bots require a very light version. So firstly, there's a couple of .NET. It's a Microsoft workflow technology based. So you need .NET framework.
And through this, you'll have full file access to all folders.
So are you talking Studio or when the bot runs?
Whichever solution.
Okay, so when the bot is a Windows service. So it needs access to run the service and need access to the file to execute.
Right.
Then it needs basic user access on how a normal user would work on the system. So it doesn't need admin access. So what would you give that person that would have done that job? What access would that person need? You need to give him the bot similar.
Yeah, just like from a user point of view, how can they use this to get deeper into the system that they gated off against? But thank you, you've answered my question.
So if you want to install Studio, you need admin access to install.
Thank you.
Yes, so if you want Studio, you need admin to install, and you need certain internet access. Community need to authenticate that you don't run it off, so certain internet access for authentication is needed. We've got people that's very creative to limit that piracy.
I had a similar question about pricing for the small businesses. The question would be with the international trends as they move from SaaS to PaaS to BaaS, which is business as a service. Are there any future hopes that small businesses or entrepreneurs could have a BaaS offering, business as a service, where they could go out to clients and just have a studio license and the processing power comes from the cloud? I know you've got something which you have to do.
Yes, but that's one of the opportunities for partners,
Yeah.
PPO partners. We've got PPO partners that host it for them, bot time, and they just give you the skill. Remember, a bot can do 50 different things in one day, or 50 bots can do one thing. It doesn't matter. So a bot is a parallel execution. That's why I say a bot is really the wrong description. It is a single execution, but you can have different blocks behind each other. So it can classify emails, it can process emails, it can go make coffee through APIs to your intelligent coffee machine. It can do various different things and then come back and work. Think Matrix, upload a skill to fly a chopper. That is the skills that you can then give your bot. And if you need more time, you buy more bots. That's basically how it works, one-on-one.